What's up, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic weekend. Welcome to another episode of Age of Quarantine. I am your host, Chris Enriquez from the band Spotlights at Spotlights Music. I also work at Revolver Magazine at Revolver Mag. I have been doing this show for a few weeks. All of the old episodes are on my personal YouTube channel. So if you look me up on YouTube, Christopher Enriquez, you will be able to watch all of the episodes that have taken place so far. My guest, Johannes from Cult of Luna, is texting me, so bear with me. What you hear in the background is Cult of Luna. I had the great privilege of playing music with Johannes. We were supposed to play Roadburn with Julie Christmas along with Laura from Kylesa, and we had a great time jamming on some really cool songs. We were very disappointed to find out that the pandemic obviously made it impossible. We will be back next year and cannot wait, but just playing with Johannes was amazing. Getting to know him over one weekend, it felt like we had known each other forever. Great guy. Had such a blast too. We played music and we also got to watch Refused, oddly enough, who were in town, also from Sweden. Before the pandemic happened, I was actually able to catch his band for the first time live with Intronaut and Emma Ruth Rundle. Oh, he's in. Johannes, what's up? It's good to see your face. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, likewise. I mean, it wasn't that long ago though, but it feels like an eternity
It's
almost.
so weird. Yeah, I was just saying before you joined in, I was doing a little intro and background, and I was saying I only really knew you for one weekend, but it felt like we were old friends and we had a good time. And one of the last shows I saw was your band. So, you know.
Oh yeah. But I mean, we have a lot of common, interest. Hardcore, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into that eventually. We have an hour. But again, thank you
Yeah.
so much. And I like to take the opportunity to start with just a few basic things and then maybe get into some of your backstory on a personal level, and then how it sort of goes into Cult of Luna and all the musical endeavors that you went into. But let's start with this. How have you been managing to get through the pandemic?
Um, I think that, I mean, when it comes to my personal life, I could live like this forever, man. Uh, but the situation in Sweden is very different from the situation in New York and the US. I mean, we're not in a lockdown, for example. So it's a long way from New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry about that. I'm moving closer to the window here. Yeah. So anyway, no, I mean it's pretty good. I'm working from home. Have a lot of extra time, being able to write some music, stuff like that. But I mean that's just my personal life. But everything around it. I mean it's just. I remember I listened to a podcast, the same, pretty much when I hit the ground in New York. I don't know his name, but I think he's like the science editor for the New York Times, and he kind of mapped out how he predicted this virus was going to play out, and what sounded like a apocalyptic nightmare. I mean, that's basically everything he said has pretty much become a reality now. And he said, like, get mentally ready for a lockdown. Get mentally ready for thousands of casualties. Get mentally ready for that people that you know are going to die. It still hasn't come to that point yet for me, but I mean, yeah, it's weird talking about it.
Yeah, man. I don't want to spend obviously too much time, on the things that are scary and unknown, because we need to really try and lift each other up and lift each
Yeah.
other's spirits. So, but I always like to start with that just to get an idea of like how everybody's doing out there that I've been talking to. But you know what? Let's talk about you, man, because there are a lot of people that are really excited, and I have to plead ignorance. I've always known about Cult of Luna. I loved everything I heard. And then after I played with you for one weekend and mentioned it to a few friends, even up until today, and having seen your band live, man, people fucking love your band, dude. There are some crazy people out there uh, that just are in love with your music. So I want to talk about you right now.
Yeah.
Start with this. Where are you from originally?
Yeah, I'm kind of a geographical bastard when it comes to my origin. I mean, my parents are from pretty much the north. My dad is from the far north, and my mom is from like the biggest island in Sweden. But I grew up in Umeå. I mean, that's where my yeah, yeah, but man. Um, uh, no, so I mean that's where that's where my heart is. That's where home is for me. I've been living in Stockholm now for 12 years, but we recently decided to move back up,
Okay.
back up to Umeå, which is like 8 hours north of Stockholm.
Beautiful place, both places you mentioned, which I've been to,
Yeah,
and obviously really good music aside from you guys and obviously the Refuse. There's a band that I love from out there called Kent. Not really a heavy band, but I always really like the music that I heard
yeah, yeah.
from where you're from. And what are your earliest memories of just discovering music in general? Not even like when you start going to shows, just music.
I mean, I think my personal memory is probably like my dad. He was and still is involved in the kind of if there's anything like a folk music scene. um, yeah, so he's been that's kind of what I grew up with until I mean I think my first introduction to heavier music was probably when I was like 6, 7, listening to like Twisted Sister, and obviously Kiss and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I can't remember like just We're Not Gonna Take It was a hit like in the village that where I grew up. Twisted Sister song. I remember like this kid was running behind the school bus just shouting, "We're not gonna take it." And I was probably like 6, 7 years old at that time. But I mean, other than that, uh, I was always into music. I remember when I was like 9, 10 years old, I had this friend that was living a neighbor to me. We were having this winter break from school, just listening to Poison, Mötley Crüe, and Guns N' Roses, and all these like hair bands. Which I mean, it was and it is what it is, but it's still like I was always into music, but I didn't got into hardcore and punk. Well, actually, I got like a very quick introduction because I moved away from the city for 1 year, and I got to I had this friend that you always have a friend that had like an older family member, like a cousin or something like that. That yeah that got all these demos like Garbage Pail Kids, which is like David from Refuse. I think it was his first band um, back in must be 89 or something like that. Maybe like 90 or oh yeah, all these hard to keep track of the years. But yeah, that was my first introduction to like punk and hardcore.
Yeah,
And then
I wanted to delve into that a little more too, like to
yeah,
talk about the scene out there. But really funny to hear you talk about Twisted Sister because they're from Long Island, where I'm from. So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
big deal out there. And then and also the hair metal thing. You know, you and I in the brief time that we got to spend with each other identified that we're the same age. So that hair metal
yeah,
stuff was very impactful when you were born in 1980, and that's what you
yeah.
saw on TV. We were very lucky, actually.
Yeah, we watched when we were in the studio recording the last album. We watched the Twisted Sister documentary,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah, and I must say that like my respect for those guys kind of grew. I mean, they did. I can't remember, but like 7,000 shows. Like it sounds, but they did like 3 or 2 shows a day for years and years and years. I
Yeah,
don't
this
know
is
if
DIY.
yeah. It kind of, I mean, my respect for that band totally like changed. I mean, from I kind of I have lost track of Twisted Sisters since like '90 or something like that. So I don't know anything about that band really in detail, but it was a very interesting documentary for sure.
You're gonna make me want to listen to that when this is over now. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So when and how did you start playing guitar and singing? Let's talk about that.
Like my mom got me into like guitar lessons when I was 12, and I hated it totally. I mean, I was like playing an acoustic guitar and just yeah, doing boring stuff. I'm kind of a person that I want to become good at something. If I don't feel that I'm progressing or that I'm good at start, like I'm gonna quit. So I quit and wasn't interested in that at all. And that was during the year where we moved away from the city. And when we moved back, I reconnected with a friend that was kind of like an old friend, but during that year when I was away, he got into hardcore, and he was and still is a really great guitar player. And yeah, I think we might have talked about this in New York, but the first like he introduced me to all these like bands in that was big in 93, 94, Inside Out, Gorilla Biscuit, Youth of Today, Judge, like all these bands, Earth Crisis and all. And he taught me how to play Burning Fight from the Inside
Fuck
Out.
yeah,
Yes,
that's
yeah,
we're
yeah.
talking. Now we're talking.
Yeah, that was my first song that I ever learned to play. And I mean, I mean, it's not that hard. It wasn't that hard, but it was kind of a challenge to learn. And when I learned that, I wanted to learn more. And he kind of taught me song after song after song, and which kind of spawned an interest in the instrument. So I sold my snowboard and bought a guitar with with this black Puma on it.
Nice. I
Yeah, it
should
was a great first.
question, by the way, to some people that are asking questions. I forgot to say this in the beginning, but if you have any questions, there's a question mark box on the bottom of the screen, and all you have to do is put your questions in there, and then I will answer.
Oh,
I will, submit them shortly after we get through a few topics. So I see one person
uh,
has already submitted one. So yeah, guys, if you're watching, guys and girls, sorry, if you're watching, just use the question mark box in the bottom, and we'll get to it. So that's great. Yeah, Inside Out, if people don't know, was Zach De La Roca from Rage Against the Machine's hardcore band back in the day. So you started out pretty cool. That's amazing. And then when did you discover that you had a voice and obviously lots of aggression and screaming?
ah, like I tried it out. I mean, at start I was just a guitarist, and I played in different hardcore bands, and it didn't have like I tried to do some vocals while I was playing, but I have a very clear memory when I was standing in front of the mirror, and I must have been like 15, 16, trying to sing along to a song I was playing. It didn't like you need to understand I can hardly walk and breathe at the same time. Like I'm the worst that, and I'm not even kidding. I'm the worst drummer ever. Like like if somebody would put a gun to my head, I would still not be able to keep a steady beat. I
That's
mean,
really funny.
yeah. But when it came to Call of Luna, I kind of always, from the first record, I did some backup vocals and all that. And after, I kind of felt after our third album that it was just a matter of time before Klaus, our lead vocalist at the time, that he was going to quit. I just felt it. And I kind of gradually wanted to do more vocals. And on the fourth album, Somewhere Along the Highway, I think I did like 50%. And I actually, because before that, I was screaming my lungs out. I didn't have any technique at all. Um, and he had some workshops with me to teach me because he's a natural. Like nobody can understand how that like small guy can get that like big voice. So I was going to kind of we did some hours in the studio just trying. He tried to teach me. Didn't work that well. I wouldn't say that it's not until like
We got another freeze on the camera. I'm not sure if that's happening to anybody else or if it's just me, but looks like we got another freeze frame on Johannes's screen.
oh I'm back. I'm back.
There he is. There he is.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so like 2 years ago, I started to figure out how to do the vocals without totally destroying my voice, and that's actually thanks to Melissa Cross, vocal coach. I flew into New York to do some hours with her, and she didn't teach me anything new. She just told me exactly what I already knew, but she kind of taught me how to work with what I already had.
You talking about Julie?
No, I'm talking about sorry, Melissa Cross.
Oh yeah, she was a big prominent person for a lot of
Yeah,
vocalists, even a lot of hardcore and metal people. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, yeah, she's amazing. She's amazing. Can't recommend her enough. But it wasn't after we did the U.S. leg of the Yellow Christmas tour. When I realized like I need to seriously work on the vocals or work on my voice because I don't do much screaming on that record. And I was like I couldn't talk. Like I woke up every morning like I'm not gonna be able to do the show tonight. And I felt like and that was like 8 shows. Like if we're gonna do 3 weeks, I need to figure out how to do this. But yeah, that's one aspect of the whole thing. Just playing and do the vocals. It's just a matter of practice, actually.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, yeah.
For whatever is going on, it sounds great, and that's kind of the great thing about hardcore and punk rock. Not, obviously, which we'll get into. This Cult of Luna is a lot of things, but to the root of it, I guess we're talking about where it all started for you, and a lot of happy accidents is what happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, guys, I see a lot of questions popping up. I'll get to the questions in 10 minutes at the 4:30 mark. Depending on where you're watching it. Over here in New York, it's 4:20. No pun intended. I'm going to try to breeze through this because we get kicked off at 5 o'clock. It just kicks you off. So, when and how did Cult of Luna begin?
Oh, okay. Long story short, I got into this band called Eclipse in '96. We released like a 7-inch and a song and on a like the Uno hardcore compilation called Straight as Fuck.
Nice.
Number 3. It was it was very Unbroken inspired.
Great band.
Oh, we could talk about hours about Unbroken, but
just wait until we get to hang out and play together again.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, and that band members came in and out, and all of a sudden we were a different band, and Klaus were doing the vocals, and I got into, and I don't know how I got into all these bands that no one in my circle of friends listened to, and probably fanzines and stuff like that, and just ordering albums on random, like got into bands like College, for example, Botch, and stuff like that. So and this German amazing band called Acme. I hope you're like.
Oh my God, Acme was fantastic. They were such a big deal back then. Yeah. Like
I mean.
Grindcore. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's gradually progressed. So the all of a sudden the band wasn't the same. So yeah, we didn't have a drummer. We didn't have a bass player. I don't even know how I got in contact with Magnus at first, but I probably internet or something like that. And he was from a neighboring city, and the bass player came from a neighboring city. And this was in '98. And I don't know how specific you want to get, but from there on, we kind of gradually progressed. We were very lucky that we did. There's this free festival in the neighboring city of Skellefteå where we played, and we were very lucky that this British guy was visiting his girlfriend at the time, and he had a small indie label, and got in contact with us and asked us if we wanted record a mini CD, which which was popular at the time. Yeah, so we took and we took all the money and we recorded a full length with that budget. Actually, a full length and 2 songs, which translates into like 70 minutes of music.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the opposite of a mini CD.
Yeah, we released that, and it got pretty. I think I'm not sure. Sometimes I think about how like reviews means nothing, but at that point, like we got 5Ks in Kerrang, which was a really big deal.
Big deal. That's a big
Yeah,
deal.
yeah. And
was that on Earache too?
no, that was not on Earache. This was called Rage of Achilles. Just a small indie label, Duncan. Yeah, we have everything. It's all thanks to Duncan when it comes down to it. And then, yeah, Earache contacted us, and then we released a bunch of records, and yeah, here we are.
Got to give a shout out to Al from Earache. He moved here to Brooklyn. He's always at St. Vitus. Great fucking guy. Yeah, go ahead.
No. We mostly work with Dan, but yeah, I think I met Al. Yeah.
Yeah, Al's the best.
Yeah.
What's the creative process like with Cult of Luna when you're writing? There's a lot going on musically, a lot of mix of genres, and but it's done very tastefully, which is really hard to do. There's a lot of bands that try to do that, and it just doesn't work. But you guys got it down to a good like science. I feel like it works. How maybe walk us through in the best way that you can what the creative process is like behind the scenes.
I mean, we've tried a lot of different ways of doing it, but for the last 10 years, I mean, we used to live in the same city, and then we kind of, we met up and wrote the songs in the practice room, like bands usually do. But since now we're like scattered all around Sweden pretty much, and for the last 10 years, actually, we did an experiment of trying to write like democratically, like that we didn't bring anything in, and we tried to like write there and then. That didn't work out at all. We kind of if the band has been anywhere close to quitting, that was the time. Yeah, and after that we kind of decided that everybody that brings a song to the rest of the band need to be able to realize the basic idea before we start tampering with it. And that has been working out pretty good. I need to say I'm not the only like songwriter in the band. Absolutely not. We have a lot of people contributing to what we do. But I can only speak for myself. Like I don't live in Umeå where we practice. So what I do is that I write the skeleton.
Okay.
I write a skeleton of a song. Just program drums and stuff like that, and bring it to the band. And I know 2 things when I bring a song to the band. Is that one, it's not gonna sound anywhere close to it's at least not going to sound the way I have imagined it. And the second thing is, it's always going to sound way better. Because I am privileged to work with such an amazing people, talented, and like if I would be the control freak, um, that I would dictate everything, it would not sound half as good.
Yeah.
Because, like, for example, like Frederick, he does stuff with his guitar I could not even imagine doing. Same thing with like Thomas, he's such an amazing drummer. Andreas bass playing, like I'm not even trying to do the bass because like I'm not like I'm almost as bad of a bass player as a drummer. And yeah, and same thing with Christian and the keyboards. I know nothing about those electronics. I'm and yeah, and then we kind of, I wouldn't say that we jam. Sometimes we do, but um, and sometimes I have ideas. Basically, okay, I want it to be in this like vein, but not that I go in and I don't think I'm that specific. It's more of like a basic idea and just let it go to these talented people and let them do their stuff.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, it's great. That's the great thing about having bandmates is I always felt like if you have someone that's good at making a skeleton, but then you get the best bass player that fits and the best drummer that fits and the
Yeah,
people that understand and can complement, then you have a recipe for a good situation. Um,
yeah.
I'm going to ask one more question before I go to the. I know fan questions sounds funny, but there's a bunch of fan questions that I'll get to in 2 minutes. But why two drummers? It's interesting anytime anyone does it. You guys make it work really well. How does that sort of flow into the creative process? How do you figure out what works and what doesn't work? Because it's not like it hasn't been done before, but it's not common either, especially with
No, I mean we've been doing it for the last 10 years, and I honestly don't know how how or why we started. Um, and like I I can't answer that question because I'm the wrong person doing it. I can answer it from almost from your perspective because sometimes I look behind me and I see them doing their stuff like what the fuck are you doing? Uh, uh, but I think the most important part when it comes to Thomas and his drum writing is that uh, he doesn't have to. He, yeah, well, obviously he has a good sense of taste, but it doesn't have to be full on all the time. He's the one that's always been since we have three guitar players. He's the one that has been talking a lot about like you don't have to play all the time
right.
just because like and that go. I mean, for a drummer, usually you need to play something to keep the beat and the song from collapsing. But just because you have two drum kit doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be full on all the time.
Yeah, it's
I
about
know, yeah,
taste.
yeah, I know. Like Christian, the guy that usually plays the second drum kit. I know he can go and have like a bathroom break in one song because he doesn't play anything and stuff like that.
Right.
So
You guys are like the post metal version of like Santana. You got the guy with the
oh yeah, well, by the way, that was one of one of my dad's records. He had the Santana album, with the old the lion heads.
well, you heard it here first, guys. Cult of Luna,
Yeah,
big inspiration, Santana, and Twisted Sister. It makes complete sense.
yeah.
So before I take the fan questions, I want to give a huge shout out to John Lane from the band Godmaker, who is a huge Cult of Luna fan, and he helped come up with some of the questions, and he's very upset that he's at work and could not be here to watch this and ask questions himself. So I know this will make his day, but I gave him a shout out. Huge fan of Cult of Luna. Let's get to the questions from the other fans. Okay, here we go. Um, okay. The Bear Gnardus says, aside from hardcore, what are your main musical influences in your own writing for Cult of Luna and Rewind? I mean, there was Santana and Twisted Sister, but I'll let you get into more.
Well, when it comes to Riven, which is my hardcore band, I would say it's only hardcore. That was I was on parental leave with my second kid, and I decided I was going to write one hardcore song every day for as long as I could, and I wrote like 14, 15 songs, and then we formed a band, and yeah. But when it comes to like, it's hard to say because I listen to a lot of different kinds of music, and I'm kind of past the obvious. When you get inspired by music, for example, like when we did Eclipse, and Unbroken was definitely the biggest influence on us. I think it's more of a subconscious thing that you pick up stuff that you just listen to, and sometimes I can listen to, I mean, electronic based song, and that chord progression was kind of cool, and then I have the guitar. This is the guitar I write most of my stuff on. Just I can just you know be lying in bed, uh, just trying to go to sleep, and then idea, and it just so I mean I'm a bit past the kind of having a influence
Right,
in
kind of
that
come
in
into
that
your
sense.
own already.
Yeah, I have my way of working, and I kind of it's it's the same thing with I've stopped trying do other stuff like I can't it's um the same thing with I tried for a while having other colors on my clothes than black, and like it doesn't work like.
Right, right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna quit trying. So it's only black for me now. It's the same thing with like, I can't do it. Like I kind of have my way of working, and there's no. Maybe I would be a better guitarist and a better musician, a better songwriter if I would try different stuff. But I'm just gonna do what I feel is right.
Hey man, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know. Okay. Leah's Legend. Will the music you worked on with Perturbator be released?
Yeah, yeah, that's the other project that was supposed to do at Roadburn. Me and James from Perturbator have written a bunch of songs that we were supposed to be performing. I don't know. Hopefully, I mean the songs are written, and um, it's 1 year to to when we are going to perform them. So I need to find something to do during this year. So
Right.
yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Question from John Costco. What is your main rig that you play that Dumble guitar through? It's insane.
Oh yeah, that's one of the questions. Like that's why I do most of the interviews when it comes to Luna, but like I can't do any like rig rundowns or I can't talk about the guitar um, like a technical perspective or like a mechanical perspective because I know nothing. I only know what I
Yeah.
like. I mean, when it comes to pedals, and talking pedals are so boring because it interests maybe like 2% of everybody that listens. But one of the pedals that I've been using since the Beyond, it's called Golomer the Blues, which is um, it's a very heavy kind of warm distortion that doesn't it doesn't it's not an overdrive, so it still have a warm tone, and it doesn't sound like a buzzsaw. I have my reverb, delay, Pog, flanger, different kinds of pedals, volume pedals.
Right. There's a lot.
Yeah.
More ingredients.
Yeah, but the best thing I ever did is that I used to own a rectifier, a Method Boogie. I sold that, and for like 20% of the price, what I got from that, I bought this Trainer Combo Mark III. That's the best. It's an amp I still use to this day. When we're touring, I mean, I use orange amps. I just need a clean, warm sound, and then I fix everything else with the Gallmer distortion pedal.
Hopefully that answers your question, John. Let's see. This is a long one. All right, that's just too long. I don't because it doesn't fit on the screen. I'm sorry.
No, I try to see who whenever you're playing.
I try to see you whenever you play in the UK, and there really isn't a band out there that touched you at the moment. Oh, it's more of a statement. Well, that's Kinger 462. Just wanted you to know how much your band means to him. So that's awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's.
Let's see.
Thank you very much.
At Carl Nate, have you played Pub Anchor in Stockholm City?
Oh, I don't think I have. I've been there once or twice. It's a very small bar in Stockholm, where at least when I was there 10 years ago, you need to you need to constantly be ready for a fist fight.
You don't want to get into a fist fight with Johannes. Trust me. I'll tell you that right now. And we are going to talk about exercising at some point. I'm going to try to pack it all in.
Okay.
Okay, so there's the answer to that question. This is the last one I'm going to take for now. Why set up your stage like you do, lights behind and dark shadows on the member? His stage fright? A weird question.
No, I mean a valid one. At start, when we started like touring seriously, in 2003, I don't know, I had an idea of creating some like moody, dim lighting just to get people in the right mindset. So we bought like 4 floor cans with static light, blue light, that were on during the whole show. That was everything we had, like 4 floor cans. That was even more boring and even darker than we have today. And long story, like Alexi, that's our light guy and also manager now. We got to know him as just a kid hanging out at shows in France, just following us, and I kind of became our friend. And like 12 years ago, he said that he was doing lights. Can I do your lights? Yeah. And I mean, he's like the 6th, 7th, I can't remember how many we are in the band, member in the band. But I mean, we have the same idea of what we want to do with the band, and I don't have any stage fright. I know it was probably being sarcastic, but because. But I don't feel 100% comfortable on stage. At least I didn't used to. But just so you know, we see everything because we have the light in the back. So it feels like you're totally naked. I mean, I've never seen a Cult of Luna show because we're always standing on stage.
It was insane. It was insane.
Yeah, he's doing a good job with the lighting, no doubt. There's no doubt about that.
We got 20 minutes left, so I'm going to try to get to a lot. And just I see one comment here that I want to address. Pablo Flexcobar 666.
Oh, that's an amazing name.
Yeah, that is a great name. If you or anybody watching tuned in too late and you missed something that you want to see again, go to my YouTube channel tomorrow. All of the episodes will be up. Most of them are, but this one will be up by tomorrow. So you can rewind and go back to the beginning if there was something that you missed. So there's that. Okay. I'm probably going to have to skip a few questions because I'm running out of time. But let's get into Julie Christmas for a second. How did you link up with Julie Christmas? And then why don't you elaborate on what it was like making Mariner with her, etc.
Oh, okay. I'll try to be quick. Yeah, time flies. It's hard to remember like in what order we took each step, but all I remember is that I loved Made Out of Babies and Bell of Mice and absolutely, I mean, I had her and still to this day have her like soul album on repeat. And yeah, we were curating a festival in London in 13, I think, and I really wanted her to play, and she couldn't, and I think that's how we started talking.
You never met her before that?
No. We actually didn't meet. Well, yeah, sorry. We met after we started working on the songs very briefly before a show in New York. Like we just took a quick drink and then said, nice meeting you. See you. Well, we didn't really properly hang out, and I didn't get to know her after we started practicing together.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but she couldn't play, and I really wanted her to play. And then we started talking, and I knew that we were not going to play a lot live, so I thought, why not do something that are kind of outside of the, what we usually do, and just try to see if we could do an album together that was not supposed to be played live. Oh, it sounds like that. I've repeated the story so many times. And yeah, we were. I wouldn't say she was reluctant, but she, we wanted to try a song out, so we kind of, I sent her one of those drafts, that I was talking about earlier, and she did some vocals on them, and like, this is gonna work out. And we recorded the songs, and she and I didn't know, I had no idea how it was going to be received, and but I was really proud of it, and I still am to this day. It's just that it's so different with her vocals on it. So I had no idea that it was going to get so well received.
Very well.
Yeah, and then we got to hang out with Andrew and her for a couple of practices and 2 tours, and then we realized that they were 2 of the best people in the world, which was, I mean, it could have gone completely opposite. Yeah, so it was a very good match, both musically and on a personal level too.
What are the odds across the world, right? You never know. It could go.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
But that's the thing we talked about earlier about which people you cross path with. I mean, how this band has. I mean, there's so many coincidences how someone meets somebody that, and all of a sudden you're playing in a band, and you have so many people that need to work so close for such a long period of time, and we work very well on a personal level and also on a creative level. There's so many things that could go wrong.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, you and I talked about this too, which is that it's so interesting because the world becomes so small. It's a cool thing about underground music. Like I know Dennis and David, and you guys are in another country, and you guys knew each other for a long time, and
yeah.
and then we ended up with Julie together. I mean, like that doesn't. I mean, I could be wrong, but like I don't know if that happens as much in like pop music or something. You know what I mean? I think there's something cool about underground music in particular, where it is a community to some degree, which is great. Um,
But it definitely is.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, yeah, but
no. So a lot of people have been commenting on how much they love that record, and I'm so glad that you guys got to tour. I didn't get to see it, but hopefully at some point when the world goes back into some kind of normal place, we'll get to see it again. You mentioned Julie's solo record. Was it very challenging for you to learn those songs? And what are your favorite ones from her solo record?
I mean, I talked to Laura about this. They're not challenging uh, like technically, but they're I can't remember the guy who wrote them, his name, but uh, it's been very a, a learning process because he writes songs like I would never do,
Mm,
which means I need to at first I need you to think a lot. I need to be one step ahead because he doesn't arrange songs like I've seen or anyone do. It's not like it has some continuity, but in a weird way.
yeah, totally.
Uh, yeah, uh, and the songs that I think probably July 31st is probably my favorite song to play.
Yeah.
Because that's a song I used to have to think a lot. Um, obviously a person that knows music and is technically good, but he doesn't need to make it overcomplicated. It's
Uh-huh.
complicated in a tasteful way.
That's the
And
best.
I'm not a good guitarist technically. Like, I know how to play music, but I'm not like I could never like shred a solo or anything like that. Um,
I know what you
but
mean.
yeah.
Though. It's like the Kurt Cobain thing, like he did what he did really well.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
he was a great songwriter, and that I mean that's all that matters at the end of the day. I'm
yeah,
getting a little worried that I didn't cover enough of some of the other things I wanted to get into, and we have 10 minutes, so
yeah.
let's
I'll be
start
short.
with this. What's going on with your record label, Red Creek? Why did you start one? What are you trying to accomplish with the new label?
We just want to have a home where we can um, do the stuff that we are, that we like without pressure from anywhere, or just have a safe home basically. Um, to release stuff from like our inner circle, and also maybe pick up bands that we really want to that doesn't get the attention that they deserve. So that's basically short answer, like a safe home for ourselves. And I mean, I, I know there's a lot of bands trash talking labels, but I've had a good experience for 20 years with every label I've been working
Shout
with.
out to Metal Blade and shout out to Earache. Both of
Oh yeah, Metal Blade, Eric, indie recordings, like no problem at all. Like but I don't care much for the label side of it. I try to get other people to deal with that side. Um, but every label we've been working with has been had music loving people, at least the people that we met, that have been passionate about music. And So it's not like that we are dissatisfied. It's like we just want to do other things.
Yeah, no, I get it. Um, Here's where you start getting a bunch of people sending you DMs on Instagram when this is over with their band to check out.
Oh, I get enough of those
I
anyway.
know,
I can
I'm
tell
just
you.
kidding.
Yeah,
Not to discourage anybody, but
yeah.
okay. You're and by the way, I'm sure I don't need to tell everybody this. You obviously have A Dawn to Fear already. It's phenomenal. I got to see a lot of songs live before the pandemic. I'm so glad that was one of the last shows. I think that was the last show I saw.
Oh, yeah,
Jesus
yeah,
Christ. Yeah, it's the last
yeah,
live music I saw. You know,
yeah.
Johannes, you'll appreciate this. The last weekend before the pandemic, I did three things. I saw Gorilla Biscuits on Friday. Then I saw Cult of Luna with Intronaut and Emma Ruth Rundle. And then I had Julie Christmas practice. Those are the last three things I did.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Before I got stuck in.
That's yeah, yeah. You could probably. I mean, you could have checked out after that. Yeah,
uh,
yeah. You should always check out when you're ahead.
a fantastic weekend.
Yeah, and you saw Refuse too.
Yeah. Yes, yes. What was it like touring with Emma Ruth Rundle and Intronaut? It was such a great package.
Yeah, I mean, we know the Intronaut guys before, so we knew that was going to work out just fine. And I also think, I mean, hearing, I think their new material is probably I mean, it's the best album as of yet. I mean,
Fuck it.
they should be
I'm
really
fucking
proud.
stoked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, and Emma and Dylan, her yeah, her touring partner, they were amazing too. I mean, I got to see them or both of Emma and Intron every night, and I try to see every band at least for a couple of minutes every night, and it's just a privilege to be able to play with such a talented people.
Yeah, absolutely. She really commanded that room. I've seen her a bunch of times.
Oh yeah.
When Cult of Luna and Intronaut played at Gramercy Theater, it's like probably maybe 1,000 cap, maybe a little less, but sold out. And there you could hear a pin drop. No one was talking. That's very hard to do. You got anybody watching, you have no idea how hard it must be to play acoustically or by yourself in front of an audience like that where people are talking. And she had everyone's attention, which, by the way, she's going to be on the same program that you're watching right now in a couple weeks. So hang tight for that. That's going to be awesome. Okay, I'm gonna do some quick ones for you, like top 5 record type shit in a second. But
no. Oh, because that takes forever. Yeah. Are we?
We're going there. But before we do that, I want to tell everybody that the Julie Christmas performance at Roadburn, which was unfortunately canceled, with myself on drums, Laura from Kylesa on guitar, Andrew from Pigs on bass, Tom Tierney and Johannes on guitar, is going to happen next year at Roadburn. So,
What a great gang.
Huh?
What a great gang.
Yes.
You're a great bunch of people, yeah.
I'm trying to make sure that everyone knows. So don't forget Roadburn 2021. All right, Johannes, welcome to the Quickfire Challenge. You have 5 minutes. What are your top 5 hardcore punk records? It's not the last question, so hurry up.
Okay. Okay, Unbroken Life, Love, Regret needs to be on number 1. I'm just gonna throw them out there. Gorilla Biscuit. Sorry, today. I actually, I mean, I have a lot of love for 108.
Fuck
the Krishna
yeah!
Corpse.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Some separation. Judge, Bring It Down. I'm gonna regret this so bad tomorrow.
While you're thinking, all 3 of those bands have played at St. Vitus and killed it, and 108 songs of separation from start to finish, which was sick.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, there's so many. 2 more. One more. Fuck.
He said Judge, Gorilla Biscuits, and 108, right?
Yeah, and Unbroken.
Unbroken.
Of course. Yeah, yeah. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna. I mean, Coalesce, Give 'em Rope. I mean,
Okay.
that changed. I mean, that changed a lot. I mean, there's a lot of other. I just need to mention that record.
Yeah, I remember getting that with the rope inside of it, and it was like
Yeah,
hand
yeah.
covered. Yeah.
I had never heard um, anything like that. That changed a lot. So I need to say that. However, if you ask me tomorrow, you'll get 5 different or 4 different.
Okay. Well, we got
I
3.
mean,
Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah. I mean, look. I started listening to Bad Religion when I was 13. I mean, not mentioning No Control would probably. Um, let's just stop there while we.
Okay. Well, I won't. Well, I was going to ask you one more, which might stress you out a little bit. And by the way, we might make playlists out of these episodes to promote
Yeah.
them after the fact. But if you are stuck at home during the quarantine and you only have 5 records, what are they? 3 minutes on the clock.
Oh. Radiohead needs to be there. Probably Amnesiac. Um, I'm watching my record collection right now, trying to see if I can.
So we got Radiohead, something by
Uh, Something about yeah, Amnesiac.
shit, the timer's going down.
I'll continue thinking about that, and you just continue with other quick questions that might be easier to answer.
No worries. We already got a lot out of you. We didn't get to talk about exercising, and now I have to.
Oh,
But
you
exercising
have it?
is very important to you.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
take it from Johannes. The man looks fantastic. He fucking kills it on stage. So if you want to be healthy, put down that beer and do a couple push-ups before you leave the house.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was doing the 150 push-up a day when we met. Um, yeah. Was there a question there, or was it just?
That was just more of a statement because now I got the 1-minute clock staring me in the eye.
Oh yeah, yeah.
If I
No, I'm.
disappear, I didn't hang up on you.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I've been doing this. I've been doing this five workouts a week thing now for a couple of weeks. I have 3 more weeks to go. But if you want to talk barbells, we could go on for a long time. We used to. I mean, that's a good thing when you get older and touring. Is that used to be a lot more drinking. Now we are trying to find a gym every other day.
I noticed.
Yeah, yeah. During the gym world tour, but I mean, you actually get to see the cities in a different way than when you're just hanging out in the bus.
I think that's a great way to do it. I got 15 seconds, it says, before we get kicked off. So I want to thank you so much for making time. And if anybody tuned in too late, this will be on YouTube tomorrow. Johannes, stay safe. And thank you again, man. I hope you get
Yeah, and I will give you those 5 records.
Okay. We'll post
Yeah.
them.
Oh, yeah. You do that.